Hello, welcome to another episode of Terry's Boruto Opinion episode. I think this is episode 4. Yeah, episode 4. I hope it's episode 4, otherwise this title will not make sense. So what I'm saying, if I make a mistake, then I'm sorry. But as you see in the two pictures here, one is a model with his white colored hair, and as you see, it's leaning towards one side. Then at the corner, you see a picture of Kawaki. And yeah, this is just after he reactivated the karma that Amado gave him. But Amado is the most mysterious character because he gave Kawaki the karma back, and when he abandoned the car organization, he's incredibly concerned about Kawaki more than anyone else, and he looks like he has a secret plan. And I thought about this in another video, and I still do, till I'm proven wrong. I believe Amado is in fact Ishiki Otsutsuki, because in this scene, you see Amado and Jigen talking, and Jigen tells Amado that everyone will get what they wish for, and very mysteriously, in this scene where Sasuke found the hologram of the Otsutskis, at this moment when he's looking at his body, he heard the ten tail, so he went down underneath the platform and he saw the baby Juby, the baby ten tails, and he was shocked. And so far as we know, we as the fans never saw the face of this hologram. The other holograms we saw the face, but this hologram, all we see is the backside of the body with the edges of the tops of the coats and the horn, but we don't see his face. So it makes me wonder, 1,000 years ago, now in the history of the Naruto world during the Naruto series, it was mentioned every 1,000 years, the fruit bears a chakra fruit. I mean, it takes 1,000 years. If it takes 1,000 years, then that means the divine tree has not been there for 1,000 years. Kaguya did not plant the tree there. The tree has been there for at least 2,000 years. At least it has. So maybe when a divine tree gets planted for the first time, it immediately creates a chakra fruit. But then for another chakra fruit, it will take 1,000 years. And so basically, it takes 1,000 years. So it makes you wonder, Ishiki or Tsutsuki, who's in the body of Jigen here, he seems very impatient. When he gave Kawaki the mark, and every time he failed out the other body, he kicked the cans in frustration. He was annoyed that he was failing. So it makes me wonder, who is Jigen Ishiki? Is Jigen the host, the one who's currently being possessed by Ishiki? Is Ishiki controlling his body by the brain? Because if that's the case, then that means for 1,000 years, Ishiki has not slept. He has not slept, and he is basically using to shrink himself into that small form requires him to use his dojutsu, as it was said. But it doesn't make sense. But if you think of the body like a Jinjuriki, and that back plate over Jigen's stomach is in fact like a sealing device meant to keep the Ishiki inside. Now, is the one who controls Jigen's body the real Ishiki, or is it in fact a clone, like the fabrications that I mentioned in my previous episode? Is Jigen here, aka Ishiki, is in fact a clone and being controlled of the body, and the real Ishiki is in fact the Amado. The body may be the host, Amado Sanzu, but is he in fact, did Ishiki Otsutsuki discover the Ryuchi cave and learn the soul transfer technique, the same technique Orochimaru uses to go from one host body to another to another? Now, it's most likely possible that Orochimaru altered the technique, because we know when he was revived when he left his body first time, he had a snake body, when he tried to take over Sasuke's body and he died. Now, we discovered that giant additional snake form was something he created, an extra protection, because it looked like he never had a chance to enter Sasuke's body. Now, what if that giant snake form with all those mini snakes connected to it was in fact like an organic pseudonorma, and controlling that is in fact the snake that we saw when he was revived again, just as he took control after he summoned the four Hokage. He took over White Setsu's body. In that moment, we saw him in snake form. So, in that moment, does Orochimaru, does Ishiki Otsutsuki know the soul transfer technique? Did he learn Sage Mode from the Ryujin Caves? Did he learn that technique? Because that's a mystery. I personally believe that Ishiki is controlling Amado, because if Ishiki has been on Earth for 1,000 years, I mean, he is patient. I mean, he is patient. He is calm, patient, 1,000 years. Jigen, from what I've seen in the manga and the anime, is that he's hot-headed, he's impatient. But Amado here is patient, he's calm, collected. And there's that small scene where in the manga, you see, but after when the spirit of Ishiki Otsutsuki appeared before Code, he informed Code everyone involved in his death, in his being forced to revive in Jigen, but he never mentioned Kashin Koji, because Amado believes Kashin Koji is dead. So, most likely Amado implanted Kawaki with a new coma, but instead of turning Kawaki into like this, a copy of his clone, he probably had time to analyze coma more better, using knowledge from Amado's head and other knowledge because he plans to turn, if he rewrites Kawaki's DNA into a perfect copy of his original DNA, not a copy of his fabrication, his clone self. Because something about Kawaki made him survive the process. All the others died, and the whole idea of a white coma seal being a defect, well, I'll speak about the white coma seal in a video, another episode of Boruto's opinions. Terry's Boruto's opinion. But I personally believe Amado plans to rewrite the DNA of Kaki's body to be 100% of that. And one thing, his DNA is being rewritten, but when you look at Karaki, when you look at Boruto, the Komashi is supposed to be rewriting the DNA into that Otsuki that gave them the mark, but yet we have not seen any changes to their body physically. Skin, eyes, hair, bone structure. So it's more like a transformation jutsu. Like we've seen with a Koma seal works very similar to how Madara came back. Like I'll speak about that Madara and the reanimation jutsu that was used to bring him back, and the similars to Koma and other things. Basically, Karaki's DNA is completely rewritten to be that of Ishiki's. Then it's quite possible that Amado just needs to use, probably has shinobi red technology, nanomachines inside of Karaki's brain, and he could potentially just transfer the mind of Karaki into a new body, because we have seen with Delta that he had technology to transfer a person's mind from one body to another, so he could possibly have another body of Karaki's waiting to transfer him. And that's the body that we see in the future. Because in the future we saw both Boruto and Karaki fight, and they both have Komashi, but Boruto has a slash over his eyes. But Boruto has become more Tsusuke, so he has healing build, so who knows? So it's quite possible. I truly, in my opinion, believe that Amado is in fact the host, and Ishiki Otsuki became a parasite 1,000 years ago when he lost to Kaguya, and he has been possessing people for 1,000 years, hopping from one host to another to another. So it explains how for 1,000 years he's been in hiding. He's been keeping a low profile, blending in with humans, because he was so badly hurt he did not have the time to. Any backup bodies he had were probably killed. And I believe the 10 tails that were in the place that Sasuke found was in fact the 10 tails. If what Amado said is true, well, I guess it is true, because Momoshiki also reveals that the 10 tails are the baby seeds. So, but it's quite possible the baby Jubi was in fact the 10 tails that was supposed to be planted 1,000 years ago. But the only one who knew where it was Kaguya's superior, who is in fact Ishiki Otsutsuki, who went missing 1,000 years ago. So she wasn't able to plant another tree to get another fruit. So, yeah, so I truly believe Mato is currently waiting for the rest of Karaki's body's DNA to be rewritten, not from that 80% that was stopped because of Jigen's mark, but because a new mark would probably rewrite that 80% and then continue down. And the only way the Konoha knows how to tell information about the Koma seal is because he gave them technology allows them to analyze the Koma seal. So he probably only gave them a certain amount. He's protecting Karaki's karma seal, so they won't know. So it's highly probable in the future, once Karaki's market is 100%. In my opinion, Amado, if he's truly a Sheik, will leave his body to take his place inside his a new body of his. He will simply transfer Karaki's mind into a cloned body that has Zero Otsutsuki's ability, but it's quite possible that Amado might give him karma, but this time it will be a true weapon only karma that we see in the future. It won't have any warp auto ability. It will only be able to absorb chakra, and that, who knows? Only time will tell. Because, yeah. And I'm recording this around 4 days until chapter 74 comes out. So I'm looking forward to that, because when that chapter comes out, if there's anything interesting, I'll do a review on that. So that's it for today. I recorded this a bit longer than I wanted to, so if anyone's listening into this whole 16-17 minutes worth of video, if you're interested for more on Terry's Boruto's opinions, please let me know, and like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Bye.